Hello everyone, welcome to this series on famous villains in the plays of William Shakespeare. And in this video, we are going to discuss the character of Don John in his play Much Ado About Nothing. Introduction. Don John, the illegitimate brother of Don Pedro, is one of the central antagonists in William Shakespeare's comedy Much Ado About Nothing. His role as a schemer and villain is motivated by bitterness and envy, leading him to plot against the happiness of Hero and Claudio. This video explores the various dimensions of Don John's character, examining his motivations, manipulative tactics, and thematic significance supported by relevant quotes from the play. Motivations and bitterness. Don John's actions are driven by deep-seated bitterness and resentment towards his brother Don Pedro and the society that views him as inferior due to his illegitimacy. His status as a bastard renders him marginalized and fuels his desires to disrupt the lives of those he envies. In Act 1, Scene 3, Don John articulates his discontent. "I cannot hide what I am. I must be sad when I have cause, and smile at no man's jests, eat when I have stomach, and wait for no man's leisure." This quote highlights Don John's unwillingness to conform to societal expectations and his embrace of his outsider status. Cunning and manipulation. Don John is a master manipulator who uses deceit and cunning to achieve his aims. His primary scheme involves deceiving Claudio and Don Pedro into believing that Hero, Claudio's betrothed, is unfaithful. He enlists the help of his followers, Borachio and Conrad, to execute his plan. In Act 2, Scene 2, Don John outlines his scheme to Borachio. "It is so. The Count Claudio shall marry the daughter of Leonato." "Yeah, my lord, but I can cross it. Any bar, any cross, any impediment will be medicinable to me. I am sick in displeasure to him, and whatsoever comes athwart his affection ranges evenly with mine. How canst thou cross this marriage? Not honestly, my lord, but so covertly that no dishonesty shall appear in me." This exchange demonstrates Don John's willingness to use any means necessary, including dishonesty and deception, to achieve his goals. Envy and malevolence. Don John's envy and malevolence are evident in his interactions and schemes. His primary motivation is to cause misery for others, particularly Claudio, whom he resents for his close relationship with Don Pedro and his impending marriage to Hero. In Act 1, Scene 3, Don John expresses his intent to harm Claudio. "If I can cross him any way, I bless myself every way." This quote underscores Don John's malicious intent and his satisfaction in causing harm to others. Isolation and alienation. Don John's character is also marked by his isolation and alienation from the other characters. His status as an illegitimate son and his sullen, unsociable nature contributes to his sense of being an outsider. This isolation reinforces his bitterness and drives his actions throughout the play. In Act 1, Scene 3, Don John reflects on his isolation. "I had rather be a canker in a hedge than a rose in his grace, and it better fits my blood to be disdained of all than to fashion a carriage to rob love from any." This metaphor illustrates Don John's preference for embracing his outcast status rather than attempting to ingratiate himself with others. Thematic significance. Don John's character embodies themes of deception, envy, and the effects of illegitimacy. His actions and motivations highlight the destructive power of envy and the lengths to which someone marginalized by society might go to assert their presence. Additionally, Don John's schemes bring to light the theme of appearance versus reality, a central motif in Much Ado About Nothing. In Act 3, Scene 2, Don John receives Claudio and Don Pedro. If you dare not trust that you see, confess not that you know. If you will follow me, I will show you enough. And when you have seen more and heard more, proceed accordingly. This quote encapsulates the theme of deception and the dangers of taking appearances at face value. Conclusion. Don John in Much Ado About Nothing is a character driven by bitterness, envy, and a desire to cause disruption. His manipulative tactics and malevolent schemes underscore his role as a villain in the play. Through Don John, Shakespeare explores themes of deception, envy, and the impact of societal marginalization. Don John's legacy as a complex and driven antagonist continues to resonate, highlighting the darker aspects of human nature and the consequences of unchecked resentment. So this was the discussion on Don John's character in Shakespeare's play Much Ado About Nothing. We will meet in the next video and discuss some other character. Until then, goodbye and thank you.